بمناسبة مقابلة ولي العهد السعودي محمد بن سلمان على قناة فوكس نيوز، نقدم لكم ملخصا موجزا لهذا اللقاء البارز الذي تمثل فيه ولي العهد في واحدة من أهم وأكبر الشبكات الإعلامية العالمية، حيث يتم مناقشة مجموعة واسعة من المواضيع السياسية والاقتصادية والثقافية، وستلقي الضوء على العديد من القضايا الراهنة والتحديات التي تواجه المملكة العربية السعودية والعالم في الوقت الحالي. ستتيح هذه المقابلة للمشاهدين فهما أعمق لرؤية ولي العهد السعودي المستقبلية للمملكة وتأثيرها على المنطقة والعالم بأسره. وإليكم أعزائي المشاهدين أهم النقاط التي طرحت في هذا اللقاء. أولا، كيف ترى المملكة العربية السعودية بعد 10 و20 و30 سنة المقبلة؟
What do you see 10, 20, 30 years for Saudi Arabia?
I will give you an example. If you look to the late 70s, Saudi Arabia GDP is bigger than South Korea, and now South Korea, I think it's the 10th or 11th largest GDP in the world in 2016, and in 2016 we are number 20. So that's a shame. In 1980, we was GDP number, I think, 12 globally, and then in 2016 we are number 20. So we believe if Saudi Arabia and really the perfect track, since that time we will be among the top 7 GDP globally. I'm trying to get Saudi Arabia back on the right track.
ثانيا، لماذا تعتبر مشروع أنفاق السكك الحديدية والموانئ لمجموعة العشرين الذي يربط أوروبا ودول الخليج والهند بالصفقة الكبيرة؟
The G20, you just mentioned it. You really have become a big player on the world stage, and that G20 rail and ports deal connecting Europe, the Gulf nations, and India, why is that such a big deal?
Logistics is important. If you want to manufacture in your country, if you want to move goods, it's important to have a good logistic plan. You work it with many countries, many regions, to be sure that goods pass in the right time. For example, that project will cut the time of goods from India to Europe by 3 to 6 days. Cut time, save money, and it's more safer, more efficient. So why not? And it's not about only moving goods and railways and ports. It's also about linking grids, energy grids, data, cables, and other stuff will benefit Europe, Middle East, and also India. And most of these energy, all of these energy going to be a green energy that's going to be produced in the Middle East and being exported to Europe and India. So it's a big deal for us and for Europe and for India.
ثالثا، في هذه الصفقة الكبيرة يوجد دور لإسرائيل. ما الذي يتطلب لتوافق على التطبيع مع إسرائيل؟
Also mentioned in this deal is Israel. What would it take for you to agree to normalize relations with Israel?
Well, there is approach from President Biden administration to get to that point. For us, the Palestinian issue is very important. We need to solve that part, and we have a good negotiations continue till now. We gotta see where it will go. We hope that it will reach a place that it will ease the life of the Palestinians and get Israel back, as a player in Middle East.
رابعا، كانت هناك تقارير على تعليق المحادثات مع الجانب الإسرائيلي، هل هذا صحيح؟
There were reports that you had suspended talks.
No, that's not true.
Not true. So you think, if you were to characterize it, are you close?
Every day we get closer. It seems it's for the first time real one, serious. We're gonna see how it goes. If we have a breakthrough of reaching a deal that give the Palestinians their needs and make the region come, we're gonna work with whoever's there.
Not to go too far, but the concessions Israel would have to give the Palestinians, what would that look like?
That's part of the negotiation.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to describe things because I want to see really a good life for the Palestinians. So I want just to continue the negotiation with them.
خامسا، هل يمكن عقد صفقة مع رئيس وزراء إسرائيل بنيامين نتنياهو، وهل يمكنك التعامل معه؟
Can you make a deal with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu? Is that somebody you can deal with?
Well, in Saudi Arabia policy, we don't interfere of who's running each country, who's there. We work with him. Now we don't have a relation with Israel, but if Biden administration succeeded to make, I believe, the biggest historical deal since the end of the Cold War, then we're going to start a relationship, and that relationship going to be continuous regardless of who's running Israel. So.
سادسا، هل سيكون هناك اتفاق دفاع مشترك بين السعودية والولايات المتحدة الأمريكية؟
Would there be a defense pact maybe between the Saudi Arabia and the United States? And what would it look like, Article 5 in NATO?
Yeah, first of all, we have some sort of that in the past 80 years. We are the biggest buyer from American armament manufacturing. I believe Saudi Arabia alone is bigger than the next 5 buyers from America. So Saudi Arabia is critical in your armament import economically. And we have a lot of security military ties that really strengthen the position of Saudi Arabia in the Middle East and strengthen the position of America globally, especially in Middle East. You don't want that to be shifted. You don't want to see Saudi Arabia shifting their armament from America to other place. So that document, it will strengthen that. It will strengthen the interest of America, security interest, military interest, and also economic interest. And also it will save effort and headache from the Saudi side of not switching to other places.
سابعا، لماذا قمت بالتطبيع العلاقات مع إيران ولم تقم بالتطبيع مع إسرائيل؟ وإذا حصلت إيران على القنبلة النووية، كيف سيكون رد المملكة العربية السعودية؟
You know, there are many people who wonder why you first normalized relations with Iran, a longtime enemy who back in 2017 attacked your oil facilities, but yet not yet Israel. Can you explain that?
Based on situation and politics. So we have a long fight with Iran since '79. We don't want to be that the norm in the Middle East. If there is opportunity to shift that and to go to prosperity and interest and working with Iran and working with the other Middle Eastern, bringing Iran to work with the Arab world, with the Middle East, why not? So the Iranian reached to the Iraqis in 2020. The Iraqis talk to us. They start to do that kind of negotiation. We have few obstacles. China come in, solve it, and then we have a good start. We hope that continues. We're trying our best, and also what we see from the Iranians that they're taking this very seriously and they are doing their best. So we're investing in that.
Gets a nuclear weapon, about them getting a nuclear weapon?
Well, we are concerned of any country getting a nuclear weapon. That's a bad move, and you don't need to get a nuclear weapon because you cannot use it. Even if Iran gets a nuclear weapon, any country use a nuclear weapon, that means they are having a war with the rest of the world. The world cannot see another Hiroshima. If the world see 100,000 people dead, that means you are in a war with the rest of the world. So it's a useless effort to reach a nuclear weapon because you cannot use it. If you use it, you got to have a big fight with the rest of the world.
If they get one, will you?
If they get one, we have to get one for security reasons, for balancing power in the Middle East, but we don't want to see that.
Yeah.
ثامنا، إيران تخوض حرب بالوكالة ضدكم في اليمن، وفي ال5 الأيام الماضية كانت هناك محادثات مع الحوثيين على أعلى مستوى. هل هي نهاية الحرب؟
Iran has been fighting this proxy war in Yemen against you. Just today, there were these high-level talks over the past 5 days with the Houthi rebels inside the kingdom. And the quote from your people is that it was positive. Secretary of State Blinken said that this is a time of opportunity. Do you think it is?
Yeah, definitely. Our aim from day one is to have good life for the Yemenis, good life for the whole countries in the region. For us in Saudi Arabia to progress, to do really great progress and great growth and creating amazing economy in Saudi Arabia and have close to 100% of succeeding of what we're trying to get, that means we need a stable region. To have a stable region, you need economical development in the whole region. You don't need to see problems in Yemen. You need to see Iraq going really forward. You need to see Iran going really forward. You need to see Lebanon going forward. You need to see the rest of the region going forward. And we are working with GCC, with Egypt, with other players in the region, and also with the global players, with our allies in America, to make that happen. That's good for the rest of the world, because you see, when the region is disturbed, ISIS come out, Al-Qaeda come out, terrorist attack come out, piracy come out. So we don't want to see these events. You want to see opportunities for American companies, for European companies, for the rest of the world, and for more growth in a place that create problems in the past few decades.
تاسعا، تطبيع العلاقات مع إيران بوساطة صينية وربما الانضمام إلى مجموعة البريكس. هل تعيد المملكة تقييم شركائها؟
There are signs of change. Obviously, the renewal of relations with Iran, brokered by China, possibly joining BRIC. China's a big component of that. Is the kingdom reevaluating its security partnerships, kind of trying to think of different ways to do it?
No, BRICS is not about political alignments. So if you look at the G20, you have like two groups inside the G20. You have the G7 and you have BRICS inside G20. We tried to join the G7 at President Trump time, but some of the countries in G7 have like requirement to be part of that. And we are seeing that if we continue for 1 decade without being part of group inside the G20, that could really create obstacles for us economically. So BRICS is an option. They invite us and we welcome that. And BRICS is not a group against America or the West. You have a lot of allies in BRICS. You have India, you have Brazil, and you have South Africa. Those are also as your allies.
عاشرا، هناك قلق في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية بسبب قضية تايوان. فما هو رأيكم في هذه القضية؟
You know, obviously there's a lot of concern in the U.S. about Taiwan. As you know, President Xi, when it comes to that issue, what do you think his vision 2030 is?
We announced our policy in that. We believe in one China, and I believe so is America believing in that. There is few arrangement there. I believe the Chinese is respecting that till now, and we're going to look forward how it goes.
11. أنت تتعامل مع رئيس روسيا فلاديمير بوتين. ما هو رأيك في وجود روسيا داخل أوكرانيا؟
What about Russia? You deal with President Putin. What's your thought about Russia inside Ukraine?
What's happening there, it's something bad. We don't want to see it. Invading a country, it's something against the rules of the UN. And the Saudi vote against that. The Russians have their excuse of why they did that, of expanding the NATO, etc., of their lists of excuses. But invading a country is really bad. In Saudi Arabia, we have a good relation with Russia, and also we have good relation with Ukraine. We have amazing and critical trade with Ukraine and Russia. So for us, we try to do our best to push for a few steps to solve this problem.
12. في وقت ما ستكون الملك للمملكة العربية السعودية. كيف حال والدك؟
At some time, you will be king here. How is your father?
He's 88-year-old. He's in a good health. I hope a long life and healthy life for him.
Inshallah.
وفي الأخير جولة في مكان إنشاء 22 جزيرة في البحر الأحمر.
This is Sindala, right on the water. This has to be exciting to see stuff happening.
Yeah. This is one of a lot of islands that we're developing in the Red Sea. So now around 22 islands under construction. That's one of them. And more going to be announced. So it's a shame that you have the best corals in the planet and the Red Sea. Still doing very well because it can stand heat. And it's not available for tourists to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So next year it's going to be open, almost 5 islands from the 22 under development. But in total in Red Sea we have 1,150 islands. The aim is to develop 50% of that.
ورؤية ولي العهد في استضافة دورة ألعاب الآسيوية الشتوية في 2029 في السعودية، والغريب أنه لا يوجد ثلج في المملكة.
I guarantee you the world does not know you have all these places. Not only that, a snow mountain.
It's very close from here. We are hosting the Asian Winter Games in
In
29 in Saudi. Yeah, that's something got to change. What's Saudi? Saudi's not about just desert. You have forest in it, you have valleys, oases, tropical islands, mountain islands, sandy islands, corals, and you have snow.
Yeah.